afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming back to another episode of our podcast, A While Back. Today, we are happy to have a member of our family that's Generation Z. Her name is Caroline. She is mine and Marty's daughter. Oh, I'm sorry. She's our niece. The reason I thought that she was our daughter is because she looks so much just like her Uncle Bert. I thought for a minute there that maybe she was mine and Marty's, but I guess not. No?
No. I am your goddaughter.
You are our goddaughter.
If you forgot about that.
No, I didn't forget that at all. That's correct. You are our goddaughter. But today we're going to have Caroline answering some questions. The questions we're going to have for her are, of course, the regular questions we have for everybody. But one very interesting subject we're going to talk about is digital media, social interactions through digital media, and Caroline's quite the expert in that. So we're looking forward to her answers on that. And we're going to start off the episode with what I believe to be the perfect title for this. Caroline's title is Picture of Perfection. Caroline has to be perfect in everything that she does. She has to look the part no matter what it is. And Caroline always wants to have everything perfect. And I think the title, A Picture of Perfection, is perfect for her.
Let me just introduce, Caroline's our second oldest granddaughter, and we're proud to have you here today, Caroline.
Thank you, Grandpa.
Absolutely. It's been a long time coming. All right. So now, Caroline, this is where you get to introduce yourself a little bit. So you don't have to give any very important specifics about yourself, but go on and introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are.
I'm 19 years old. I'm born and raised in Corpus Christi, Texas. I go to college in San Antonio at UTSA, and I joined a sorority my freshman year, and I've been living in Corpus throughout the coronavirus pandemic, but most of the year I live in San Antonio.
Good. And you like San Antonio?
I do.
Oh, that's nice. All right, good. So recently, you and your family have added a new addition to the family, Morgan. How was the wedding? How did you enjoy it? Tell us a little bit about the wedding and how everything went.
Well, Grandpa knows about the wedding. He was
Yeah,
there.
Grandpa was there, right.
The wedding was
nice.
super fun. It was mostly just family. It was family. It was super sentimental, and I think that they had the wedding exactly what they had dreamed of, just they didn't know it yet.
Okay.
And I think it was super special.
That's good. So everybody had a good time, and it was perfect with exactly what Alec and Morgan wanted.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's most important by far. All right. And Morgan is a phenomenal young lady. You know how I know her too. She's outstanding. So she fits perfect in the family. Now, one of the things that comes up is because of the fact that you were born in Corpus, but where were you raised at a younger age?
Oh, okay. I was raised in Rockport, Texas,
Right.
about 30 minutes away from Corpus. I think it was from like years 1 through 10 or 11.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved to Corpus for middle school and high school. So I lived in Rockport and attended a private school there. And then once it got to be too much of a hassle to drive to Corpus
And
is
back.
when we moved.
Right. So you grew up in Rockport. What was that like? Did you enjoy that out there? Did you enjoy being closer to water? What did you love about Rockport?
I loved like fishing in Rockport. That's what we grew up doing.
Right.
And I liked living on land because it was just fun to be able to like play hide and go seek and stuff and run around with my cousins in the brush and not have to worry about anything. And we had like a trampoline and stuff, so that was always fun. I feel like I was more outdoorsy at a younger age because of living in Rockport.
Exactly.
And sports is kind of like all we had to do there, so
Right.
that's why I say that. And then moving to Corpus, kind of turned into a city girl.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
So-
well, and we're going to bring up sports here in a minute because Grandpa's going to ask you a couple of questions about sports. But what I remember the most was when you were just tiny little baby, you had one of the biggest set of lungs out of anybody that I've ever heard. You could cry and pierce ears from everybody in the room. And it wasn't just a little crying. You would cry nonstop for a good 10
Well,
minutes.
my mom begs to differ. She says that I was good.
No, well, you were good until you started crying.
If he cried all that much, you definitely took after him. 'Cause he did a lot of crying when he was a baby.
Well, that's why I said she's like my daughter. We look the same anyway, so why not? All right, so Grandpa, what kind of questions do you have for her?
Okay, tell us about your sports, Caroline.
My sports. Okay, so in Rockport, I grew up playing softball. Actually, I started out with baseball, and I think it was Coach Pitch is when I started. I think there were 4 girls that tried out for Coach Pitch, and I was one of them. And I cried and cried to my dad because I made the team called, I thought they were called the Burros, like the donkeys.
Uh-huh.
I made the Brewers. So I cried because I thought we were called the donkeys, but figured I was on the Brewers. And then I transitioned to softball when I got a little older and played that throughout middle school. And then I started volleyball when I moved to Corpus.
Right.
And so that's when I kind of dropped most other sports, is because I really enjoyed playing volleyball. And so then I started playing travel ball once I hit high school, and I played through from freshman to junior year. So
Right.
I played 3 years of travel ball and went to places I would have never been. With
Exactly.
my
It opened up
mom,
the door
pretty
for you,
much.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
And it was just a super fun experience.
Absolutely.
Well, I remember a lot of your softball games over there in Rockport.
Yeah.
Then you were one good pitcher there.
Oh, yeah. I was fast.
Yeah, and then of course we remember your volleyball days in Corpus too.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about volleyball too with you here in a minute.
Yeah.
But what do you remember about your dad being your softball coach? What kind of memories do you have of that?
A lot of constructive criticism.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the best
That's
kind,
good.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best kind.
I remember not wanting to ride home with him after softball games because I knew it was going to just be a whole life lesson on the way home.
Well, I'm sure it was a valuable life lesson.
But the best part of riding with him
Uh-huh.
was getting to stop at the convenience store on the way there.
Oh, well, see, that made it all worthwhile, didn't it? So now, when you were at IWA, because we went to a lot of your volleyball games, and I can honestly say this, and I'm not saying this simply because I'm biased and she's our niece, but on that particular volleyball team, you were by far one of the most athletic members of the team. And I'm not talking about the fact that you had a powerful arm. You may not have had the most powerful arm, but you were by far the most athletic. You were the fastest, the quickest out of everybody I had seen. And you were just like your older sister, Kate. You would go to the net, and you put your arms up, and if your face was right against the net, didn't make a difference. You were there to knock it down, and you were there to block it. I was always impressed by that. And every time I saw both of you doing that, I was up and hollering just like your dad was. Because that's very impressive for the way that you played and the way Kate played. But what do you remember most? What are some of your fondest memories about playing on either a volleyball or a softball team?
I would have to say, like, the team aspect of it. I think throughout high school, since I played on select and travel teams, I made, like, some of my closest friends. We didn't all go to the same school, so it was like 2 or 3 girls from, each high school in Corpus. So we all kind of, like, made up a team, and I just think that like, getting to do everything together is really fun with, like, no matter, like, if it was, like, workouts or like team dinners or traveling, but I really liked that part, and then competing was my favorite. So.
Yeah, so you enjoyed the camaraderie
Yeah.
of the team. And everything. Well, that's good. All right, outstanding.
I also remember a lot of those beach volleyball games y'all
Yes,
had
Yes.
I did
on
play
the
beach
beach.
We
volleyball
did see a
too.
couple
That
of
was a
those
lot
too,
of fun watching
Yeah.
those too.
I just, for whatever reason, like I said, I remember the fact that you were, and I'm not being biased, once again, you were probably the most athletic person on that team. There was literally nothing that you couldn't do on that team. Now,
Only thing I got to say about that beach volleyball, I'm glad you were eating that sand instead of me.
so now, unfortunately, you did have an injury that did slow you down for a little while. But how are you able to overcome that specific injury, if you want to tell us about it? And how did that change your plans to be a college athlete?
So my junior year of high school junior year is kind of the big year in recruiting for volleyball,
Right,
at least,
right.
and I mean other sports too. But junior year, I verbally committed to play volleyball at Texas A&M Kingsville University, and I went on my visits. I practiced with the team a couple times. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And then going into my senior year, I tore my ACL, I tore my ACL, MCL, LCL. I want to say it was before even district even started. And so I think by March I'd applied to different colleges and stuff, but by March is when I made my decision that I wasn't going to play anymore.
Right.
Just because I felt that it wasn't going to be the same going back into, the groove of things after the injury. But I did want to give normal college life experience a try, so I'm glad I did.
That's outstanding. Good.
And going back to that constructive criticism from your dad about your dad, I think that really helped you be the athlete.
It did. You know what the funny thing is, my dad, he was okay with me not playing. He didn't want to see me get hurt again.
Right, exactly.
My mom is the one who wanted me to go so bad.
Your mom did?
My mom wanted me to play so bad, even
wow.
after I got hurt.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would have thought it would have been the opposite.
No,
That's why it's surprising.
Yeah.
Because I know your dad was a real competitor in
yeah,
school.
for sure.
Yeah.
So now, and you already had the surgery, everything came back, you went through rehab.
Mm-hmm.
How's your knee? How's everything now?
It's good now. I think I can work out and run and do everything. I think the only thing is I still have some scar tissue that I need to get removed, but that'll happen at a later date.
Scars are stories to tell your kids down the road,
Yeah.
right? Exactly. Mm-hmm. All right, so now you've gone to a private school almost your whole life. What is your impression of the differences between your public school friends, the way they prepare for the real world, as opposed to the way you prepare for the real world? So when you're in class now, are you noticing any kind of differences from study habits? Are you noticing any kind of differences from what people's plans are? Because you have a very specific plan of what you want to do in life, and you feel like you have a good idea of exactly how you're going to do it. What are you experiencing with the people now that you're in contact with in college?
Well, since I came from a college preparatory high school and started taking like dual credit college classes starting junior year, I think I had a better idea of what I was going to have to deal with and the workload and the amount of work I would have to do going into a four-year university. And I think it was a little bit of a culture shock to some of the other girls and guys that I've met at the university. I think that they thought it was going to be closer to high school and kind of like a breeze.
Right.
But they shortly figured out that it was going to be tougher. And so I think that just like my study habits and, I'm not a procrastinator in the slightest bit. And I think that that's a big issue amongst like my friends. So I think that that's one thing that sets me apart from
Outstanding.
my age.
Good. Because of the fact that you had already had established great study habits, you already your testing skills were through the roof compared to everybody else around you. So you were better prepared by the time you got to college.
Yes.
I know and I'm going to be honest with you, so with Kyle, it was basically the exact same way, just like you're describing. And then when he got there, he realized that, okay, well, what I'm doing is different than what everybody else around me is doing, but it's working much better for me. And that's probably the same situation that you're in.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're probably head and shoulders above most of them as far as your time that you spend, your organization, and your studying skills. So, outstanding. It did work great for you. Now, this is a good one, so I want to hear some specifics on this. But you went to high school with your sister, Kate.
I did.
All right. How did you like being in school together? What was that like?
Actually, I really enjoyed being in school together. Her and I got to play varsity athletics. She was 3 years older than me, so we played varsity volleyball together when I was a freshman and she was a senior. And it was super fun because we were the same position, but we played on different rotations.
Right.
But she got hurt, so we didn't get to play long together. But it was always fun having her in school, kind of showing me around and stuff. And I got to experience that last year at UTSA since she was a senior.
That's right. I forgot
I
about
actually
that.
ran into her on my first day of school.
All right.
It's a pretty big campus.
It is a
so
big campus.
It was kind of weird to run into her, but she didn't pretend like she didn't know me.
I was going to say, did she act like she knew you when you ran into her?
Yes.
Oh, well, that was nice of her. That's good.
I'm sure she came and gave you a big
Oh, no, she didn't. But
You probably tried to turn and go in the other direction, right?
No.
All right, so since y'all went to the same high school, y'all had basically a lot of the same friends. Y'all played the same sports, as you said. Was there a lot of interaction between friends that you had and friends she had?
there still is.
There still is?
today.
Good, okay. You want to speak to that a little bit?
I think that a lot of our college friends are either, I mean, we have a lot of the same college friends,
Mhm.
but they're kind of like moving on now.
Right.
But they've got younger friends or younger sisters like me, and we're all kind of friends. So we all know the same people. I mean, she knows more people than me. She's been there longer.
Yes, exactly.
But we have like the same kind of friend group, I think,
That's good. That's
through
outstanding.
association.
Okay, good. All right. So now you also went to the same school with Kyle. So what was that like going with Kyle to school as well? Because he was what, just a year ahead of you?
Yeah, he was a year ahead of me. Going to school with Kyle was fun. I mean, I like to pick on Kyle, so in the lunch line, wherever I could.
I'm sure he loved that too.
Yeah, and then him being so smart, it was nice having somebody to go to
Yeah.
get a question.
He's just pretending. Believe me, he's just pretending. So now that you're in college, tell us a little bit about your UTSA experience so far. Because unfortunately, due to the pandemic, you've only been able to take online courses like most universities. But what did you enjoy about your first semester or two there? What was it that you loved about the campus and about the school?
I think I love, I really liked it. I've enjoyed all of my classes pretty much. I liked that all of my classes were in the business building, and I mean the one next to the business building also, but generally in one area. And I think it's just been a really fun experience. Like, I rushed my freshman year, and so I joined a sorority, and I met like a lot of my girlfriends doing that.
Right.
And so I think that that was probably the highlight of my freshman year, just because we met so many people, and there were always events going on. And I think that that was a fun thing because I've never been to a public school, so
Right.
being at a school that big and like being a partisan thing was really fun.
That's
Well,
outstanding.
still am, but we're just
Good.
online.
That's right. Right now, you're just online,
Yeah.
unfortunately. All right. So you have sorority sisters now. That's a good thing, I'm assuming, for later on in life too.
Yes.
Still have those as connections, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. All right. So what is it about the school in particular? What made you say, you know what, I want to go to UTSA? Because you had your choice of a ton of schools. What made you select UTSA over any of the other schools?
I think I really enjoyed the campus, and when my sister showed me around and I talked to the people that she was friends with
Uh-huh.
and who I knew were going to be there, I just felt the most comfortable, and I thought that I could really expand on that, and I thought I could grow there the most.
Good. That's outstanding. I mean, to be honest with you, somebody as young as you are to be thinking about growing and maturing, that's impressive. That's very good. All right. Now, what is your major? And do you have any other majors in mind, maybe that you're thinking about changing later on, or do you want to just stick with it? But what is your major right now?
My major right now is marketing.
Okay, good.
So it's just a bachelor in business administration and marketing.
Mhm.
And I plan to graduate with that.
Okay, all right.
I'm still on track for it. So I think I'm going to stick with it through my senior year. And if I can find a job in it, or maybe data analysis, then I'd like to do something like that.
Okay, good. All right. So now, what have you just enjoyed the most about college life, besides being away from parents and your other siblings? What have you enjoyed the most about college life? The freedom? What else is it about college life that you love the most?
I wouldn't say just the freedom, but I liked moving off because I got to experience a different schedule. You know, since like high school, it's kind of like the same thing. You just go to class, go to practice,
Exactly.
go home. With college, I got to pick like what time my classes were gonna be. I got a job once I moved to San Antonio, so I could decide, like how that was gonna work out with my classes. I took morning classes my first semester of college, and I will never do that again. But I took morning classes, and I worked in the afternoons.
Right.
So I switched that up my second semester there, and I enjoyed that more. I liked working better in the mornings than going to school in the evenings. I took a class at 7:30. It was one of my accounting classes. I took it at 7:30 spring semester. took it at 7:30 at night. I didn't get out till 8:30 or 9, and so I was on campus pretty late. But
Wow.
I actually enjoyed the night class more.
Really?
It was an older crowd, but I was
Okay.
kind of okay with that.
Okay, well, as long as you enjoyed it and it worked out great for you,
Yeah.
obviously, so that's outstanding. All right.
That is good.
So, what do you remember most about one of the first times? Because do you remember the very first time that you got to drive out of town by yourself to go to school or to come back home to Corpus? Do you remember the first time you drove yourself to college and drove yourself back home?
I do. It was
And what was
very
that like?
lonely.
What was it
Very
like?
lonely. Yeah, I remember my parents like packing me up in the final car. I mean,
Right.
we had already moved all my stuff up, and then I came back home and, got a handful of other things that I
Right.
needed and put it in the back of my car. But yeah, it was very lonely. But I was excited to start the new chapter and move in with my roommate, and it was fun. It was a fun experience.
So, was it sad the very first time that you had to drive yourself?
Yeah,
It
I
was?
thought it was sad, but
Wow.
Kyle was probably happy.
Well, I was going to say, Kyle and Zach, we were both ecstatic to take off. But your mom and dad, I'm sure they were probably just jumping for joy. The last one's out, the last one's out.
I don't know about that. They still beg me to come home every weekend.
Oh, wow. I don't
That
beg the
was
boys
about-
to come home.
And that's about a 2.5-hour trip. ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2.5 hours. Yeah, it's 2.5 hours to UTSA, I would say.
Oh, okay.
All right, good. So now, I know that you recently got a brand new job. Did you want to speak to what the new job is and what your plans are going forward now?
Yes. I just accepted a position at Kendra Scott. It's a jewelry store.
Mhm.
It originated in Austin, and now there are tons of stores everywhere. So I took on a seasonal position in La Palmera Mall, and it's a stylist position. So
Okay.
basically I'd be styling women for jewelry or, helping men pick out jewelry for
Oh,
their
for me.
significant others for the holidays. So I'm super excited about that, and I hope that in January, when it comes time for me to move back to San Antonio, that I'll be able to transfer stores
Good. All right.
there.
Well,
That's
do you-
outstanding.
Do you think you've got any jewelry that make him look
Yeah,
better?
exactly. I could use some
Maybe,
earrings.
yeah.
I could definitely use some earrings, so give me some of that.
Oh my God.
So, what are your career plans? And I've asked just about everybody this exact same question, so I won't be remorse if I don't ask you. Once you graduate with your marketing degree and you go on into, say, a master's program and you graduate, what is your ultimate career goal? Where do you want to be at 10 years, 8 years, wherever from now? Where do you want to be at? What do you want to be doing?
Well, if it's not working in data analytics, I think that I eventually want to go to cosmetology school and learn how to do hair. So that's like
Okay, good.
another thing. And going to business school would just help me with like my background of the
Right.
foundation for that. But yeah, I think I would really enjoy going to hair school and having that license as well.
So you're kind of, you want to be a jack of all trades. You want to have your
Yes.
hands just about everything.
That's a smart
That's
deal.
impressive.
Yeah,
All
that
right,
is
good.
impressive.
All right, so did you have any other questions for Caroline?
No, no, that's pretty much it. We're just proud to have you here today,
Thank
and
you, Grandpa.
we really appreciate you taking your time and coming down today.
Absolutely.
And we
Absolutely.
love you.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you, Grandpa.
Love you too, Grandpa.
Now, when you finally decide that, you know what, I'm going to be living in this specific state or city, where would be the ultimate location you would love to move to?
I really like Texas, so I want to stay in Texas, but
Oh,
I would no. It's still in
oh
Texas.
okay, good.
I would have to say either Austin, San Antonio, or Dallas. I don't like Houston, so just one of those three I would say, but probably not in Corpus. But yeah, those three.
Boy, you sound like both of my boys, the exact same thing, but not in Corpus. All right, so, well then that's good, because as long as you stay in Texas, really
Yeah.
that's all that matters. It's the
Yeah.
best state in the United States by far. Did you have any questions or anything that you wanted to ask Grandpa that you've seen in any of the previous podcasts? Or any comment that you had?
It's not something I've seen in the previous videos,
Uh-huh.
but I did want to ask him, since I've had so many memories, like, with you and Grandma throughout the holidays. I would say, I was just wanting to know if you had any specific memories of us as kids and the holidays, and what was your favorite part about us coming here for the holidays?
Well, I guess the favorite part always is to having all the family together,
Yeah,
and that makes Grandma and I feel really good.
yeah.
And
Do you
that's
have
probably
any,
the main thing.
do you have any special, like, traditions
It's-
that are your favorite?
Well, I think they're all our favorites. I mean, as long as y'all there, that's all that matters.
Exactly, as long as
Yeah.
everybody's together. Right. All right, perfect. So, were you going to ask him anything about the episode you saw that you were disturbed with?
Oh yeah, Grandpa. I was a little disturbed at the fact that
Which one?
you called Grandma a baby making machine. I was
Oh, that wasn't right.
The funny part is when we
I
get
take
back
it all
into the
back.
house. The funny part is when we get back into the house, Grandma is going to hear that and she is not going to be
my
pleased with
God.
me. He's going to be in the doghouse again
Why do
tonight.
you do that to me, Caroline?
I'm sorry, Grandpa.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
that was funny. So, all right, so Caroline, is there anything else that you'd like to say, get out there to everybody? Because we're going to have you back here also for the next episode. And in that episode, we're going to talk more about social media and a lot of other topics. And that's where I really want you to go into great detail with. But is there anything else that you want to say?
Nope.
You're done with today's
I'm
podcast?
done, yeah.
Episode.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Well, thank you very much. You did an outstanding job. We
Thank
greatly
you.
appreciate you taking the time to come here with both Grandpa and I and answer the questions. So, thank you. Grandpa, what would you like to say?
Let me tell you something else.